Welcome back, everybody. We are back. It is all in for 2025 and our wonderful podcast. So, Cassandra and I today want to talk about feel what you feel. And it's okay to feel what you feel when you're going through it, and whether it's good or bad. But I think sometimes one of the hardest things as an entrepreneur or just honestly in life is owning the feelings that you have and being okay when things don't go the way you want them to or where you think the way you think they were going to go. But own your feelings, own your feelings and be okay. It's one of those things where I think I've learned in the last week is um, if something doesn't happen the way you thought it was going to happen, it's okay. It's okay to be upset, mad, whatever the feeling is. Just don't wallow in it. Um, Own the feelings, be okay with it, take the time you need, and then move on. A lot of times, I think what happens is we don't even recognize that whatever is happening, it is the way it's supposed to happen, and it's okay. And once you own it, uh, you never know what the next thing is going to happen. When one door closes, another door actually does open. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in the wallowing of our feelings and we can't see past it. And so I had a great lesson just in again last week, owning my feelings. It's okay. Feel what you need to feel. But then once I felt what I felt, got over it, moved on, as I call it, the next blessing came. So uh, that's what we're talking about today. Feel what you feel.
Feel what you feel. Gosh, what should I say about it? I felt like last week we were just talking about this before we jumped on the call today. I feel like last week I was hitting really big highs and really big lows. And I feel like I didn't have a whole lot of in-betweenness. Um,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
one of the things that I realized was, and I know this probably really resonates with a lot of entrepreneurs, um, is stop chasing. Like I realized that especially for business, it's not that you don't want to get leads, it's not that you don't want to try to build your business, it's not that you don't want to try to get people to sign on with you, but sometimes we try really hard to keep going after one person or one opportunity or one contract, and they're not really saying yes. They might say, "Oh, we definitely want to do it," but there's nothing in writing. And then you get crickets, and then you get, "Oh, I want to wait," and then you get, you know. And I think my mistake in the past has been I keep reaching out and being like, "Okay, well, let me know. Okay, well, and normally that's not like me to do that. And for some reason lately, I've been doing that where I'm just like, well, are you, let me know when you want to do it. Oh, I want to wait till January. Let me know when you want to do it. Oh, I want to wait till February. So I would keep doing the follow up. And then finally, I was like, no more, because I was looking at how much of my mental energy I was spending trying to continually follow up with a person that I still have not gotten paid anything for. And for me, it's never been about money. It has to be about money in business, I know, but it's always been about my heart and my work. And so I feel like I'm not really sure where I'm going with this, but I feel like when you get desperate, I guess, sometimes, and I'm not desperate, but sometimes you keep going after someone who said they want to do something with you, but then they just never do. And how many times are you willing to respect yourself and boundaries and say, okay, well, I need to know by this day, and if it's not, then I'm not gonna reach out again. I think it's a balance. I don't know. Does that make any sense at all?
So it does. I will say that there is power in follow up. I think, I've heard all kinds of statistics about, it takes 7 to 12 times before somebody may close with you. And so that's the hard part when it's not necessarily natural to follow up over and over again. And I think it also depends on what it's doing to you, to your point. I have definitely had people who've said, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for following up. I was thinking about you," and then it turns into business, and that's wonderful. It doesn't always happen that way. So there's this what I call the process of having to follow up. I think it's important, but I also recognize, yeah, to what it can do to you. And feel what you feel, right? So if you recognize that it's not making you feel great, then maybe it's changing the process. Maybe it's doing it differently. But I completely recognize the frustration around what it can do. And I think this is again important when we have to listen to ourselves and our bodies and what something, a process or how something makes us feel. And it's okay. It's just figuring out a better way to do it. I think that's the key. And I think too often what we do is we write things off, and we just kind of say, okay, whatever. No, if the process is not working and um, you feel a certain way, it's okay. Own it, live in it for a moment, even wallow in it for a moment, but then say, okay, this doesn't work for me. What else can I do? What are some other processes I can take on to get what I need in my business? But the key again is I don't think there's anything wrong with not wanting to do one way. I think there's lots of ways to do things, but I think the key, honestly, is just again, I'm gonna go back to it, feel what you feel. And I think everybody is different. There's some processes that really just work for people and others that don't. But at the end of the day, it's okay. And I think again, too often we negate what is happening, and we listen to a lot of people. I know I have over the years, and it can get loud. It can get really loud. And so I think for anybody, I'm going to continue to say this in this episode is feel what you feel. It's okay. It's just how you process it and the next step after that. But own how something makes you feel.
And I think that, to your point, I agree that follow up is important. Um, I come from a background in music, right? So one of the things that I had to do a lot was audition, you know, constantly be getting gigs, constantly negotiating contracts for, different things that I was doing, constantly doing that. And sometimes having done that for 30 plus years in various different ways, there's times where it just wears you out a little bit. And I'm not talking in the music world now, I'm talking in my coaching and consulting, but it's a different, I'm really at a loss for words today, Paula, because I'm feeling tired.
Yeah.
And I think the chase, because of my past business, has worn me out. Does that make sense? And I think that that's where I say, how much is too much? How many reach outs are too many reach outs? How many times do you say yes, 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 and then it's a no? And so I think, to your point, sometimes we move our boundary line
Yep.
where that's concerned. And I had a great mentor once who said, make a list of criteria. And when you entertain any opportunity, go through the list. Does it check this box? 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 So that there's like 5 absolute have tos. And if they don't, if one of the boxes isn't checked, then you have to really look at yourself and go, am I willing to compromise? And if I am compromising, I need to acknowledge that I'm compromising. And then it's on me that I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we compromise our checklist. And I think that's where I was getting frustrated this last couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I think that's something important. Again, going back to what is important to us, right? So what is important to you is whatever's coming your way, being very clear about that. And again, I'm gonna say it, feel what you feel. And so even in this moment, right, of just some of the frustration, it's okay. I think again, I really have gotten to this point where one of my mantras is um, pause, breathe, think, react. And it really is my daily reminder to just make sure that before I do anything, um, that I pause and that I breathe. Whew. And I think, and then I react. And it's important because that whole feeling your feelings, um, sometimes our reactions, at least I know for me, it can be really rough because I'm reacting immediately without taking the breath, without pausing. And so all I'm saying is even in this moment, it's okay. And I think it's own where you are right now. And you may need some time or some days, right, to think about how to go forward and figure out what the process is for you. Or this could just be a moment. But whatever it is, I don't even care. What I want you to do is make sure that you feel what you feel. And I think sometimes we have to just hear that, um, but also live it. It's one thing to know it, but are we actually doing it? And I think the real way of going all in is, again, going back to our self care a few weeks ago, taking care of ourselves. And part of that is, again, own what you feel, for as long as you need to, but just don't wallow in it too long. Because I want us to all be able to be very clear about what our purpose and our gift is. And sometimes processes and things that don't go well will stop us in our tracks. And we all know that somebody needs to hear what we have to say. So again, don't wallow in it too long. Just let's figure out what the better way is.
And I think that I love talking to you because I feel like we figure stuff out too as we're talking. And I will say this, feel what you feel. A lot of times when something doesn't feel right, it's because it's out of alignment. Something's out of alignment in you that you're going, why doesn't this feel right?
Mm.
And I think the biggest challenge, and I'm just going to say women in particular, but all of us have, is, and this is, I just did a talk about this on Friday. This is listening to your own voice in it.
Yeah.
Listening to your own voice in it.
Yeah.
And saying, is this in alignment? Is this part of my intention in the world? Is this part of what I want to do? And when it starts to feel like it isn't, but we still keep trying, take that pause, to Paula's point. Because I think that that's where, for me, I sit down and play piano sometimes, and it helps me. I did it this morning, it helps me get clarity because it just sort of takes me out of my head for a minute and allows me to, sometimes I just like cry. I'll put my hands on the keys and I'll just start crying because it feels like I'm connecting with myself. So whatever that is that you have to do in order to connect with yourself, and then really ask the question, am I mad about this, or am I upset with myself because I'm out of alignment in some way, or not standing up for myself in some way, or not, setting a boundary in some way.
Yeah.
This was a good therapy session, Paula. Thanks. I really needed that. That was good.
You're welcome. You're welcome. The invoice will be in your email.
This is for
Yeah.
educational purposes only, just a disclaimer. So
As we wrap up, I think for everybody, this week it is just know that what you feel is okay. Something wrong with your feelings. They're your feelings. I heard somebody say a really great quote the other day. Stop asking for permission. Validation is for parking. And I just said, ooh, oh, oh. I cannot own that quote, but I just said, come on. And so just know that it's okay to feel what you feel. You don't need permission for that. You don't. You don't. Um, Own it. Own it, you all. And at the end of the day, once you get out of that and can see, okay, I felt what I felt. Now I'm going to go out here and conquer the world. We all have these wonderful gifts, and I want all of us to use them, because as I've been told many times, somebody out there is waiting for you and waiting to hear your voice. So feel what you feel. We'll see you next week.
all right, all in for 2025. Everyone have a great day.